I watched the tow chain snap tight around my work van before I could even open my mouth. Gravel popped, metal groaned, and my entire livelihood started sliding across my own driveway like it was nothing more than abandoned junk. I stood there frozen, heart pounding, while the woman who ordered it leaned on my fence and smiled. That was the moment I realized this wasn't about rules. It wasn't about safety. It was about power and how far someone thought they could push me. I'd lived in that house for 6 years. Quiet street, trimmed lawns, polite waves. I wasn't the community guy, but I paid my dues, followed the obvious rules, kept my head down. My work van was parked where it had always been, on gravel. I'd laid myself fully inside my property line. That van wasn't a luxury. It was how I paid the mortgage. Tools in the back, permits on the dashboard. Without it, I didn't work. So when I heard the diesel engine rev that morning, I thought it was just another contractor passing by. Then I saw the hook drop. I ran out shouting, hands up, asking what the hell was going on. The tow driver wouldn't even look at me. He just nodded toward the sidewalk. That's where she stood. Sloan Reich, president of the Brook Hill Ridge HOA. She didn't rush, didn't raise her voice. Clipboard tucked under her arm, hair perfect expression, calm, like she was ordering coffee instead of ripping the ground out from under me. Emergency safety removal, she said. Your vehicle is obstructing approved access. Approved access to what, I asked. This is my driveway. She shrugged. Actually shrugged. Then you should have verified your boundaries. That's when I looked down. Bright orange caps. Fresh rebar stakes. A straight, precise line cutting across my yard where no line had ever existed before. Too straight, too deliberate. She followed my eyes, lowered her voice, leaned in just enough to make it feel personal. Stormwater mitigation review. The community needs a new runoff corridor. Your lot happens to be optimal. The tow truck started pulling again. My van lurched forward. Tools rattled inside. I felt something snap in my chest. That van disappeared down the road while she stood there smiling, already turning away confident it was over. She had no idea the next vehicle to show up wouldn't be mine, and it wouldn't be leaving so quietly. By noon, the first citation appeared. Not mailed, not posted legally. Slapped onto my mailbox with neon tape like a warning label. Equipment obstruction, final notice. No inspector ID, no date. Just the HOA seal and Sloan's signature printed too clean like it came straight off her home printer. That afternoon, the HOA courtesy patrol rolled past twice. Slow. Phones out. One of them stopped long enough to film through my front window, zooming in on the empty space where my van used to be. They wanted a reaction. I gave them nothing. The next morning, orange flags appeared along my fence every 20 feet. Same line as the rebar. Same message. This isn't yours anymore. I walked the perimeter with my phone recording, reading each violation out loud. Visual hazard, unapproved materials, obstruction of future access. Future access. That phrase showed up again and again, vague enough to scare, specific enough to threaten. A neighbor across the street caught my eye and shook his head once. Later, when the patrol was gone, he crossed over and whispered, "She's doing this all over the ridge. Anyone whose land sits where Phase 2 is supposed to go." Phase 2. That was the first time I heard it said out loud. The HOA meeting notice went out at 6:04 a.m. Mandatory. Same night. No discussion period, no questions submitted in advance. I went anyway. The clubhouse was packed. Folding chairs, people standing along the walls. The air felt tight, like everyone knew something was wrong but didn't know how to say it. Sloan stood at the front projector, already warmed up, a map frozen behind her. "This amendment passed unanimously," she said, laser pointer tracing a shaded strip that ran straight through my property. "Critical infrastructure. Non-compliant properties will be addressed immediately." I raised my hand. She didn't call on me. Instead, the HOA attorney stepped in smooth and rehearsed. "Mr. Carter's refusal to grant access will result in daily fines and potential towing of any remaining equipment." "Towing," I said. "You already took my van." A few heads turned. Sloan didn't flinch. "That vehicle was a hazard," she said, "and we can repeat the process if necessary." I asked to see the vote record. She clicked to the next slide. Meeting minutes, neat bullet points, no timestamps, no signatures. 2 board members I knew well hadn't even been in town that week. When I pointed that out, she smiled. The board delegated authority. Delegated. Another word that sounded legal until you leaned on it. You're welcome to consult counsel, the attorney added, but compliance now is cheaper than resistance later. That was the moment the room shifted. Quietly. People started to realize this wasn't about rules. It was about leverage. I didn't go home after the meeting. I went straight to the county portal. 15 minutes. That's all it took. Buried under a recent filing labeled Provisional Plat Overlay, I found it. Uploaded 2 days before my van was towed. Approval box blank. I overlaid it with the last recorded parcel map. The lines didn't match, not even close. The HOA's shaded corridor carved a clean path through my land, rerouting runoff from the entire upper subdivision straight across my property. Permanent, enforceable, profitable. Then I saw the attachment. Project budget $2.4 million. Consulting fee $18,000. Initials SR. That's when it hit me. Not anger, not panic, but a cold understanding. They hadn't taken my van to punish me. They took it to slow me down, to exhaust me, to make me fold before I saw the whole picture. A text buzzed in. Unknown number. Don't fight this. Phase 2 is happening with or without you. I stared at the screen cursor blinking on the county site, fake boundary glowing like a wound. For the first time I wondered if I was wrong, if I was being stubborn, if this was bigger than me and I should just get out of the way. I sat there in my empty house, lights off, listening to the quiet where my van used to be. And for a few minutes, I almost quit. Then I went to the county office. The clerk didn't recognize my name, but she recognized the file number immediately. Her smile faded. She turned her monitor away and typed without speaking for a long moment. That overlay wasn't approved, she said finally. It was uploaded. There's a difference. Uploaded meant anyone with access could shove a document into the system. Recorded meant it passed review witnesses' locks. I asked who uploaded it. She hesitated, then nodded. And the timestamp doesn't match your HOA's minutes. Those were attached afterward, backdated. I took a certified copy of the last lawful boundary map straight to a county engineer I'd worked with years earlier. He didn't waste time. This corridor can't exist without owner consent, he said, dragging a ruler across the page. And stormwater doesn't change direction because an HOA wants it to. He made a call while I was still in the room. By the time I left, 3 things were in motion. A records hold on the HOA's filings, a request for towing documentation, and a scheduled site verification logged as unavoidable. On my way home, I filed a police report. Not dramatic, just facts. Location, time, authority claimed. The officer raised an eyebrow when I showed him the HOA notice. They told the tow company this was county-directed. That's what they claimed. He sighed. That's going to be a problem for them. By dusk, Sloan knew I'd gone outside her sandbox. Emails started pouring in. Warnings, clarifications. A sudden offer to pause enforcement pending discussion. I didn't reply. Then a burner email came through. Short message. 1 attachment. A screenshot of a text thread. Sloan's name at the top. Consulting fee cleared. Push the corridor vote before end of month. Delay him however necessary. I forwarded it, no commentary, to my attorney, the county engineer, and the clerk. Then I sent 1 email to the entire HOA list. Subject emergency meeting. Evidence review. No insults, no accusations, just documents. Within minutes, replies stacked up. Confusion, panic. Board members asking who authorized what. Sloan called me directly. You're making a serious mistake, she said. This can still be handled internally. You already handled it internally, I said. That's the problem. She switched tactics. Promises, threats, warnings about what happens to people who interfere with infrastructure projects. I ended the call. The emergency meeting was called for that night. Same room, same projector. This time, everyone knew something was wrong. I arrived early. The parking lot was full. Neighbors clustered whispering. Sloan paced near the entrance, clipboard clenched so tight her knuckles were white. You think paperwork is going to save you? She hissed. I didn't answer. I watched the road. At 8:01 p.m., headlights cut across the lot. A white county truck pulled in and parked under the lights. Behind it, an unmarked vehicle. The county engineer walked past Sloan without slowing. Evening, he said to the room. We're here to verify boundaries. The room went silent. Maps were laid out. Files opened. The difference was obvious. The HOA line drifted, bent, carved into my land. These don't match, the engineer said. Not within allowable variance. The investigator held up the tow report. The towing company was told this removal was county-directed. That was false. Sloane's voice cracked as she tried to regain control. This is being taken out of context. You paid $18,000, the investigator said calmly. 3 days before the overlay upload, a board member stood. We never voted on this. Another followed. She told us it was already approved. Sloane's clipboard slipped from her hand and hit the floor. Miss Reich, the investigator, said you are being removed from HOA authority effective immediately. No cheers, no applause, just the sound of control collapsing. My phone buzzed. Tow company dispatcher. Your van is being returned immediately. No charges. For the first time since the chain snapped, my shoulders dropped. The fake corridor disappeared from the screen. The power she'd weaponized evaporated in front of everyone. Later that night when I locked my gate, it wasn't defiance. It was routine again. And the lesson was simple: authority only works until someone finally checks the paperwork.